My name is Eric Auger. I'll be one of your co-hosts today. Patrick will be here with me here in just shortly. Again, for those that have been keeping up the score here, we are 29 years old. Matter of fact, we're in technically our 30th year of being in business. If you think about it, we're just starting our 30th year. We will complete it at the end of this year. So we're kind of technically in that 30-year window there. It's almost enough to say 30 years, but we won't rush it too much. But we did just celebrate 29 years in business here at American Business Systems, and it is a proud moment for all of us to be a part of. Let me share with you what's the backbone of American Business Systems and the business opportunity that we are sharing with you this afternoon, and that is the iClaim EMRX platform. It is powered by NextGen. ABS has been a part of in partnership with NextGen Healthcare for quite some time. It started, 10, 15 years ago, when we actually partnered with them. This company in the beginning was actually started off by a couple of doctors who were running a company, and they built such a fantastic platform and clearinghouse and everything else that goes with it. And NextGen came along and said, hey, we would just like to partner with you, and matter of fact, we'll just buy it. So that's what happened here. And when they did that, they inherited who we are, American Business Systems. So we've been with them in strong partnership with them for quite some time. Along with that, we have several different service models that you can work with your doctor here, and these things doctors need. Matter of fact, all of these services came up because doctors were in need of a specific service. So what we were able to do, we were able to partner with different companies, other technology partners, and created some of our own. And so now we've got all of these different services that are with you, that go with you. Now, the great thing about this is you do not have to purchase these individually. This comes as the complete package. So everything that you're seeing right here is part of what you're getting here at American Business Systems. Again, let me introduce you to my co-host who's going to be with me this afternoon. That's Patrick Phillips. Patrick and Linda are the founders. Matter of fact, in the very beginning, I'm going to actually today, since he's going to be joining us remotely, I'm actually going to have him share a little bit of his story about how all things sort of come together, where he got his beginning, where he is today, and where he kind of sees the company going here in the future. He is also a great writer. He's written several books, co-authored several books, the one in the middle with Dr. Vicki Rackner. If you were on with us last Wednesday, you know that we got to visit with Dr. Rackner. If you haven't watched that particular webinar, go back to our YouTube channel. Now, I'm going to show you in a little bit where you can go find that, but you're going to want to go watch that particular video. If you really want to get this kind of the quote unquote skinny on where everything is in medical billing, healthcare, and everything else, you're going to want to go back and watch that particular. But Dr. Rackner helped co-author the book, The New Thriving Medical Practice, with Patrick. Obviously, we've got the Cash Crunch to Cash Flow, which is one of his original books that he wrote on medical billing. He is also a contributing editorial author for Billing and Coding magazine. He is the co-founder of the organization called MERMA, which is the Medical Revenue Management Association of America, which, again, if you remember, Dr. Rackner is the medical director of that. And without any further ado, I'm going to ask Patrick just to join us. I think you're joining us just by telephone today, I believe. So, Patrick.
Yes. Hey, Eric, how are you doing? Sorry, I had to. Yeah, I was just out of the office, and I thought, well, I'll just call in and we'll just have an interview over the phone.
You bet. Well, I wanted you to share a little bit of your story before we kind of get started. This is a brand new year. A lot of people haven't heard your story. How did Patrick Phillips get involved in medical billing? What is this book, How to Reprogram Yourself for Success? Tell us a little bit about Patrick Phillips and, how did all this begin?
Well, this was back in the early 90s. You said earlier we're 29 years old, going on 30. It feels like it was just yesterday, Eric, when this happened, but we had a friend, my wife and I, Linda, she had a friend that was in medical equipment, the types of things like wheelchairs and beds and things. Sure. And he would rent those out and he would bill Medicare. So he called Linda up because he knew that she did some typing Remember typewriters?
I
Yeah,
do.
she used to do some typing at home for various people, and that was kind of her home way of making money at home. And he said, "Do you know how to do medical billing?" And she said, "Well, no, I don't have a clue." So he said, "Well, just come into my office and I'll show you. It'll take you about a full day." And after about a day and a half, I mean, she was doing billing with no problem. I mean, it's not rocket science to do medical
Sure.
billing. But back then, of course, she was doing it on paper, literally using multi-part forms that you would roll into a typewriter.
Right.
And it
I
was,
remember
it
those
was
days.
yeah, it was a headache.
Mm.
But we started making pretty good money at it. And friends, relatives started looking at us buying new homes and cars and thinking, well, how are these guys making so much money? They never leave the house. And when they do, they're in their pajamas. Uh, so anyway, it dawned on me that there was probably a market for teaching other people how to duplicate our success.
Sure.
So we started that in 1994. And since then, as you know, we've got hundreds of people from coast to coast,
Right.
600 active licensees out there right now that
Wow.
are doing the billing for doctors, anywhere from, one doctor to, gosh, we've got some that have several hundred medical
Right.
providers that they're doing the billing for, Eric, as you know. So yeah,
Well,
it's been a fun ride for me,
yeah.
my family.
Absolutely. Now you wrote this book, How to Reprogram Yourself for Success, and you wrote that based upon what, Patrick? And what is this book about? And we can even tell people how they can even get a copy of this book.
Yes, that'd be great. I've got this in electronic format, and so we could send this. Why don't we just tell people to get back with the person who invited them to this webinar
Yeah.
and ask for a copy of it? But basically, back in this was I don't know, sometime in the '90s, early '90s. I read a book by Dr. Shad Helmstetter. It was called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And I thought, well, that's a funny name for a book. But when I read it, I realized that we do talk to ourselves all the time. Something's going on in
Right.
people's heads right now. They're either listening to me thinking, well, this guy's full of bull, or he seems like a pretty sharp guy. So maybe I'll read his book. But the point is that I had to reprogram myself because my dad had left us, me and my two brothers, my mom, when I was about 12 years old. I never saw him again. So I had a lot of negative stuff, going on inside my head. And by the time I had reprogrammed by using, self-talk,
Sure.
I realized that this could change a lot of people's lives. And so I wrote the book. Yeah. So I'd be glad to give a copy to anybody who wants one. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you're going to give them a digital copy of that. So that'll be a PDF. So again, folks, the offer to this afternoon, free offer, no obligation whatsoever. This is just Patrick's gift to you. Sharon, since you've been on the webinar today, we've got several people on the webinar today. So it looks like we're going to be handing out quite a few of those. But if you'll get back with the person that invited you to the webinar today, you'll enjoy reading that book. And like Patrick says, we always self-talk to ourselves that either I'm no good or I don't think I can really make it. You hear such negative talk from others. And it's not just necessarily a self-help book of any sort, but it does kind of get you to thinking a little differently. And if this is something that you want to do, whether it's this business model or a different business, you want to start off the new year with, working for yourself or, just doing what you enjoy the best. Patrick, I was talking with a friend of mine earlier this week, and we were talking about, just kind of slowing down life a little bit. And, going through that book and kind of talking yourself to slow down a little bit is good because there are some pictures of you. It looks like whenever you were a teenager or young man or something like that. What is this salad master thing here?
Yeah, those two pictures on the left there, obviously I was a lot younger. There was no gray hair at that time. And that first one on the far left, that was when I was back. I just moved back here from college. And when I got back to Fort Worth, I had been in sales out there in Abilene when I was in college, making some part-time money, doing some stuff. And I was selling this Salad Master cookware. So when I got to Fort Worth, I went to their office in Dallas and signed up with them there and started doing some dinner parties here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So yeah, I sold that waterless cookware for several years. And then at one point, I decided I was going to get a real job.
Right.
So I went to work for Apple Computer. And that was in the early 80s when the two Steves were still in charge. They had a plant out here in North Dallas. Most people don't know that, but that's where they made all of the Apple computers. And then they moved it all back to Cupertino, California at one point. And that's when I started my own, consulting business.
Well, so what you're saying is that you've been somewhat of an entrepreneur a long time of your life.
Yes, my wife says I'm a serial entrepreneur because once I get one thing going, once it's successful and up and running, making money, I have to start something else. Now, that hasn't been true for the past, maybe 15 or 20 years, because once we got this thing up and running and we were training other people how to duplicate what we did, we started making money off of the back end revenue, which I'm sure you can share with us a little bit later how we do that. But the point is, we didn't need to start anything new.
Well, and I know a lot of people are looking at different businesses, different business models out there. And today, what you're going to get from us, folks, is just the realness of who we are. We're not trying to, sweet talk you or have, smoke and mirrors this afternoon. It's just two guys talking with you about our journey in life, and also about our business and how we've grown one another, and obviously what medical billing has done for Patrick's family, for my family, where it's gotten me into different things in the healthcare in industry today. And Patrick, can you believe it was over 15 years ago when we met? And gosh, here we are still at it. And so people always ask, gosh, is this going to be around for another 2, 3, 5 years? And we're going to say yes. And it's not just us saying that. Yes, it is the Allied Market Research. And I pulled some of this data up here, Patrick, and they're projecting this growth from 2021 to 2030 with what's called an annual growth rate, and that's what people want to know. What's the annual growth rate of something? And they're pegging it to be over 12% per year, which is making the revenue cycle market a $329 billion business by 2030.
Yeah, now let that sink in for a minute, folks, because sometimes we skip over this so fast. Eric, you and I are used to these numbers, but folks, let that sink in. How many different industries could you get into in today's world that has a compound annual growth rate of 12.7%? That's from 21 to 30. Yeah, there it is right there. That is incredible to me, Eric, that we're just in the right place at the right time with the right business. Obviously, 29 billion in 2020. There you go. And then 329 billion by 2030.
Yeah.
That's a good place to be. We're talking about, we're in that category, you and I, Eric. We're the baby boomers.
Yeah.
And that's just happening right now. Yeah.
Talk about baby boomers. I know that you've always said it, the older we get, the more we find parts don't stop working. And just this last week, I injured my knee, and now I'm on a set of crutches for the next few weeks. So, it's things happen. So
things happen.
We are going to the doctor quite frequently.
Well, that's why it's a great business to be in, because the whole aging population in America, as you get older, you have more time, you have a little more money, you have Medicare, maybe you're going to the doctor more often. I can just assure you of that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that a group out there called Change Healthcare it's another industry out there that's kind of keeping up with everything. They're looking at it from what's been happening in revenue cycle management. And folks, you can see down there, we put the link. This is what's called the buck denial trends of 2022. So obviously we just kind of finished that up. They released their numbers at the end of the year. So here we are in 2023. We're actually getting to share with some of these numbers with you. And really, folks, what's happening in medical billing / what's known as revenue cycle management. Why are doctors losing money? Where is this money being lost? And folks, you can see here, the first place that doctors are losing money are what's called through denials. And that means that when a claim is actually processed or it's sent to an insurance company, that the claim is denied for some reason. So what Patrick and I are showing you right now is some of the top things of why claims are actually denied. The first one here is in registration and what's called eligibility. Patrick, that's 22% of reasons why denials why a claim is denied in the revenue cycle management.
So what that means is that as the person in the doctor's office is registering this person, and checking their eligibility with their insurance, 22% of those denials come from the fact that was just done clumsily.
Yes.
Something they did wrong or left out or forgot, but that is that's 22% of it. That's the biggest portion of that for sure.
Yeah.
But also missing or invalid claim data. That means that the person putting that data in just left out something. Maybe they forgot their social security number, their phone number, something. 16% of all rejections come from just human errors, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you take those two right there, and folks, that adds up to a good chunk of why doctors are not getting paid. Now, why is that important to what we're talking about today? Well, I'm going to erase all this and kind of get my mouse back over here. Let me see if I can clear all of this out here and go back to what I started off earlier. And that is with the system in which comes with your business package here at American Business System, which is the iClaim EMRX platform. And folks, what makes this so significantly different in the marketplace is because, as I'm showing you here on this slide here, is because the interaction or the interface which the patients may want to put in their patient data, which is called the patient portal, is built by the same company. It's not made by another company. Then the electronic medical records platform, which is what the doctor interfaces with, which is when you go see the doctor, they're putting their notes in some type of EMR platform. Ours is called EMRX. That also is part of the entirety of the program. And then iClaim, which is the billing platform, it too is also serviced and maintained and built by the same company. So we're talking all next gen information. And then inside of it, you can see here, I've kind of just got down here, it says clearinghouse built in. That too is maintained by next gen. So folks, what you're getting is a very comprehensive platform to take the denials less than 2%. Now, again, folks, just go back up to this chart that I was showing you here, and you do the math. I mean, do you want less than 2% of your claims being rejected, or do you want 22% of your claims being rejected? And just on that first one there, the registration and eligibility, the difference is that our system, the iClaim system, the EMRX platform system, allows the person entering the data in there to do an instant verification of eligibility, which means that we get to check the patient's eligibility, verify it, because we're the clearinghouse. We're able to go check that before a claim is ever entered. And we want to make sure, do we have the right registration data? Did we spell the name correctly? Do we have the right insurance number in there? And it verifies that, and it puts it back into the system seamlessly. So Patrick, I mean, if you think about it, right off the top, if we took the 22%, we can eliminate 20% of claims denied simply because of utilizing our system. Because again, we're less than 2% rejection rate.
Yeah, people sometimes question that and think, well, how come everybody else has 20-30% rejection rate and you guys are less than 2%? What's the big deal? Well, it's technology.
Yeah.
That's what makes the difference. We have the technology that connects our system directly to the insurance company's databases. And when we do that, we're pulling the data in that the insurance company put into their system. So we know it's correct, right? It can't be incorrect or it's their fault, not ours.
Absolutely. Yeah, you bet. Another thing that Change Healthcare says is providers can take charge, which means there's some things you can do to avoid denials. And 31% of all claims that are actually submitted and there's denies on, 31% of those are absolutely avoidable.
Yeah.
They're absolutely avoidable.
Right. And let's not forget the bottom line here is that with other people having 20, 30% rejection rate, and we have less than 2%, that boils down to money
Yes.
in the doctor's pocket that they wouldn't see otherwise. I mean, remember, they don't get paid if it's denied unless they spend a lot of time trying to find out what was wrong and resend it and so forth. That hardly ever happens. But the point is, we can put more money in the doctor's pocket. Well, that also means money in our pocket. Ours, I say ours, I mean our licensees, our business owners. You folks who run this business doing the billing for doctors, you're going to charge a percentage of everything that's collected. So guess what?
Right.
You want it to be as high as possible and as low a denial rate as possible. And that's what we can provide for you with our technology.
You bet. Look, I've just circled down here again. This is all part of it. You can go back and research this information yourself, but they're stating prevention is the key to averting revenue loss. So, folks, Dr. Rackner said it so well last week, Patrick. She goes, most people, and you and I've heard this, we've done enough study in what motivates people, what persuades people to buy or not buy, or we've done a lot of that study and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things that we do know, what causes someone to either do something or not do something is not necessarily what they're going to gain, but it's usually by what they're losing. And the reason I can say that is, who would have thought how expensive eggs are today, and it's hard to get eggs or it's hard to get certain things. And people are now motivated to get things because there's a reduction, there's a loss, there's a perceived loss of not having something. So folks, why would a doctor ever want to change what they're currently doing in their medical revenue cycle management right now? It's because they're losing. Not because you can do something better that they'll gain more money. We're going to show you how we can show you how to go through an analysis and show the doctor what they're losing versus what they're gaining. Patrick?
Yes. And, people don't realize that is one of the most important things in medical billing is staying on top of all this. We have the technology and the reporting within our system to keep you on top of it all. And you can access that anytime, 24/7.
Yeah.
And you can give the doctor access to our system so that they can see the status of their claims and their money at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the last few things, and we're going to get down to, promise you, we're going to talk with you about how much money you can make. Not a problem. We're going to get there. But this is so good for you to understand. And including what Change has also said, there's a three-pronged strategy to denial reductions. Number one, you got to have the right people, you got to have the right process, and then you have to have the right technology. Now, imagine you're a doctor. That means, if you think about it, if they're trying to hire people to work for themselves, guess what they have to first do? They have to go through hiring people. That's tough whenever you think about it. I don't know if you've ever had to hire people, but that can be difficult because you hope you hope that you get the right person the first time around.
Right.
And you got to make sure you have the right processes. And then lastly, then you got to interview, do you have the right technology? What we're doing for you is setting you up to be the right people with the right processes and with the right technology. So we're hitting every single one of these areas that a third-party company is saying, not American Business Systems. Go research Change Healthcare yourself. This is what they're saying to doctors of what they need to do to get their money back. So I know there's a couple of questions that have come in, Patrick. I know we haven't even started about how much money people can make, but to me, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of everybody that's on here today. obviously, folks, we can tell you how much we can forecast what we think that you can make. But I think what part of what you need to understand is there a need? Can I get out there and go do it? And is anybody else saying this information? And it's not just some company out there called Change Healthcare or American Business Systems. There are associations out there that are saying that. The Healthcare Business Management Association is saying that denials can be as high as 35% or higher, and including Dr. Vicki Rackner in her book, in the New Thriving Medical Practice, says, it's an industry-wide standard that rejections can be about 30% or above.
Yes, and we're giving you these references, folks, so that you understand that we're not just trying to sell you on getting into this business, although we think it's a great business to be in. You have to make that decision on your own once you've done your due diligence. But we're giving you these resources so you have something to refer back to when you talk to friends, relatives, and investor friends, maybe, hey, this is a good business. Look, here's why.
Well, the two questions, Raji says, does the doctors use your EMR system or product? And they do. And when you go through a demonstration of the software, that's going to answer itself. And that's why we do your demonstrations for your doctors, because we want to make sure that you're getting off on the right foot. So yes, doctors are using this. And Robbie is asking, why would doctors talk to a newbie? How do we get these customers? Well, if you're seeing what Patrick and I are doing today, we're educating you on why would a doctor ever want to talk to, quote unquote, a newbie, because there's enough information out there that the doctors are being hit with already. But I'm going to tell you, the other thing that's being hit with is their bank account. And when the doctors are losing up to 24 cents to every dollar that's out there, Patrick, that's a significant amount of money that doctors are losing.
Yeah, it's people don't realize that doctors are really hurting. I mean, through this pandemic, some of them really struggled, because they didn't have as many patients. People weren't choosing elective surgeries and things like that. So their income just went down, down, down. And now when you see a quote like this, you think, well, wait a minute, if they're spending 24 cents out of every dollar, just wasting it on administrative and billing expenses, why wouldn't they outsource that to somebody who's a professional, who does it not just for one doctor, them, but for other doctors as well? And, that only charges 5 to 7 to 8% at the most. This is a whole lot less money.
Yeah, why don't you talk about this chart, Patrick? I mean, because this is what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, so we came up with this chart because we thought, well, this is a good way to have people, basically look at this expenses for a doctor. Look at that far right number right here. This is, I'll point to it right here. $54,000. Now, that's what we came up with using the numbers that you see over here. 100 claims per week, that's only 20 a day, times $150, that's the average visit of a patient to the doctor, times 52 weeks, that's a year, obviously, times 7%. Well, if you do that math, that 7% is your portion of that. That's $54,000, and that's what you are paid by the doctor for doing their billing. And 20 claims a day, Eric, I think somebody could probably do that in half a day, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't take that long. Then you look at this column here, the in-house, and you see all the expenses starting with the employees that you'd have to pay. So you say you had 1.5 employees working on the billing in that office, and you got payroll taxes, workers' comp insurance, errors and omissions. Oh, it just goes on and on. These are all hidden costs that doctors sometimes don't even think of.
Right.
So look at all of those basically together. You can see that the doctor could be paying in-house $95,000 instead of the $54,000 that they would pay to you.
And so to some degree, folks, you're seeing here that we're already showing a doctor's loss already, because even the difference between paying you at $54,600 plus, or having an employees do it, comes out to $68. Because I promise you, usually in a doctor's office, there's probably more than one person always handling the billing. So we're just trying to take somewhat of an average here. So you can see, folks, that it's very, very significant. So, why would a doctor outsource to you? These are the reasons why. Now, Robbie's asking, does the provider need to be part of your system? They do, and that's, can you do the billing for doctors utilizing their own system? You could, but then you are going to have to learn their system. And it's not hard. I promise you, it can be done. It has been done. But to make the impact that you want to make, to impact these numbers, and to get to this number, less than 2%, you really do need the system. Because remember, Robbie, as I mentioned to you earlier, this is the only system that we know of that will do those insurance eligibilities within the same system and then populate the patient's data inside the system without you having to type that in. So let me pause here real quickly and remind everybody that I need for you to go back to the person that's invited you to the webinar and schedule a live demo with them. They will walk you through what we just talked about. You need to see this. I can tell you all day that it does it, but I need for you to see this happen for yourself, because that's where, if you think of it, that's where the magic is. And that's what it gets you to show the doctor, hey, I can help you with your denials. I mean, because the industry is telling me and telling you that 22% of denial claims are coming right off the bat with registration and eligibility. We can handle that right off the top and take care of that. And so that's what we want to do. Folks, we're already down at the bottom of the hour. We got about 25 more minutes left. We want to get into, obviously, what you're going to get. How much can you make? I mean, because folks, again, now these are not just hypotheticals. These are real numbers that we're showing you based upon, again, the doctor seeing patients, how much they're being reimbursed, and then if you were charging that doctor, what you would potentially project getting. So that's what we're going to talk. And that's what the return on your investment. First of all, the investment, everybody understands that it's just under $30,000. If you're out there looking at any business models that are out there, any things that are out there in the marketplace, ABS is probably one of the lowest ones that they're out there. Now, we don't say that because, now come buy from us. But truly, you need to think about what your return on investment really is. And what we like to say is that it really does only take you about one doctor to get to where you need to get to. Now, on our website, if you'll go to our website, there's two calculators out there. There's one out there that you can put in, how many doctors would it take for me to reach your potential income? Now, this is based upon, again, some data, very low data numbers, because, again, we don't want to blow out the numbers. But if you're trying to make $75,000, it may take you to get about 3 doctors needed. But let's do the real math. Let's just kind of pull back the curtain and say, hey, if I'm doing billing and I'm going to charge that doctor, I'm going to see if I can get my pen out here, Patrick, so we can see this. So right there, it's a little small there, but you can see right there, say that you're going to do billing at 7%. I mean, Patrick, that's, again, kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be anywhere from 5 to 6, like you said, to 7, some as high as 8. But what I've seen is really the going rate for outsourcing is about 6 and 7%.
Right. That's what I see the most when I interview our owners. That's usually what they'll tell me. I'll just ask them outright, what are you charging? They'll go, it's 7% or 8% or 6%. But anyway, the point is we just had to pick a number, but you can drop any number you want to in there.
Yeah, absolutely. The average claim amount is about 150. That's typical. It might be a little bit more. Some will reimburse a little bit higher. Maybe your Blues, your Cignas might reimburse a little bit higher. Your Medicares are going to have a little bit lower, reimbursement. But that's about it. And let's say that the doctor sees about 25 patients. Again, that's medium numbers. And folks, you can see there your potential income is $68,250 for one doctor. Patrick, what's the investment here?
Well, our license fee is $28,990. In other words, $29,000. That's like a franchise fee. It includes, of course, all kinds of stuff that if you're not clear what that includes, then get back with the person who invited you and they'll break that down for you. But it's, lifetime support, access to our licensee private site on the internet. It includes a lot of marketing materials, some books with your name on the cover. There's a lot involved in that. And of course, our 10-module training, our live training, one-on-one training with a live instructor who also happens to be a licensee themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So folks, you can see here, that's 2 times your return on investment, because you're getting your money back plus with just one doctor in the first year. And if anybody's ever gone to business school, you've read stuff, and you're starting a business, to see your return on investment is usually a minimum of 2 years. And so think about the time that you would have to go find, a billing platform, learn, get everything that you need to get going here. Folks, I mean, that's why ABS is around, and that's why we do what we do for you. So Patrick, again, people might say, well, how do we know that these numbers are correct? I like just to put it out there. So again, if we take this one medical doctor that is seeing 25 patients, and we are, I think I've got this. Yeah, there we go. Seeing 25 patients at $150 per patient. You just take the 25 times 150, that's $3,750 per day that the doctor is hoping to get. Now, remember, I mean, just think about it. If they're already losing 20 to 30% of this money already, right off the top, they're already losing. Okay, so just everybody think about that. Then if we take that $3,750 a day, and then start putting what you would charge, that'd be 7%. Your average earnings could be $262 a day. Now remember, that's inputting 25 claims a day. And Patrick, we've got folks in here that are inputting 150 to 200 claims a day.
Oh yeah, easy. But some people don't like to work as hard as others. So that's the great thing about this business, folks. You can keep it as small as you want or grow it as large as you wish. But yeah, that's for less than 90 minutes, by the way, that it would take you to put in those 25 claims. That's being conservative.
That's being very conservative.
And so where do we get these numbers? We get these numbers from our licensees. Our business owners tell us these numbers.
And before I go any further, somebody's asking, is that $29K per year? No, that's a $29,000 one time. There are no franchise fees, no royalty fees. It's, again, make sure that everybody understands that. That's just the one-time fee of getting involved in this. So that's not $29,000 per year. That's just to get into business, just less than $29,000. All right. So now, if you were to take your 262, this is what your potential earnings are. Now, if you're doing that 5 days a week, so that's 25 claims a day at 5 days a week, and that's what you're getting reimbursed on. There's your $68,250 per year per doctor. And again, on average, most of our folks are billing at least for 3 doctors. So again, just take those same numbers. You're at a $200,000 plus annual income.
And this is working out of your spare bedroom.
Yep.
In your pajamas.
Yep, absolutely. And so again, have people done this? Yes. Have people not done this? Yes. I mean, it's just, Patrick, we've got to be, open here. Some people haven't done this because they've actually gotten more. Some people say, you know what, I'm going to stop at 2. And everybody wants to know, what about the 1? That's where we come in to help, because what Patrick said, you are trained by a licensee somebody that's been here a long time. She's had her business. Other people have had their business that are going to be supporting you. Everybody that supports you have and is in the business. So
Yeah.
you're not going to be getting some training from somebody that Patrick and I or Adam and whoever else has taught to train somebody else. That's not who you're getting trained by. You're getting trained by people who actually own their business. Because they're going to talk with you about getting that first one. And then with our support team, we want you to get that first one. Because remember, since there's no franchise fees, no royalty fees, Patrick, why don't you explain it real quickly how ABS keeps getting, how does ABS keep going and not have to charge people franchise fees and royalty fees?
Yeah. Eric, why don't you skip down about 4 slides there and show some of the other services that our licensees can offer. Folks, we've come up with, over the years, of the past 29 years, we've come up with other services that you can offer to a doctor, a medical practice, that can also help them with their revenue, either protecting them from losing money or helping them to earn more money and bring in more money. So even though we don't have time on this webinar to go into all of these, you can ask your ABS rep that sent you the email about this webinar about these services. And these are all things that you can offer to doctors to make money on. You make money on them. We have people who do these services for you. We have other technology companies and partners that actually do the services, but you charge the doctor. And then, of course, you make money on that as well. Well, so do we. As a company, we make a few pennies on all these transactions that go through our company. And so we don't have to charge ongoing fees like somebody asked earlier, is the $29,000 per year? No, it's just a one-time fee. Why? Because we make money on these services once you go out there and start offering these to doctors. It builds up over time. Those pennies mount up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the great thing. That's the great business model that ABS has put together themselves to help support you ongoing without any franchise fees, royalty fees, no support fees. You know, you get 100% lifetime support. Some people, Patrick, we know that have gotten into the business, maybe had to put it aside for whatever reason, and said, you know what, I know I've got this. It's been in my hip pocket. It's been back there on the back shelf. I want to get it back out. Can I get started again? We will train you, retrain you. We will help you. There's never a time where you're not part of the ABS family. So we're here to help you. Patrick, I know that you interviewed one time Laura Dean, and again, this is just, people want to know, is it possible? But you interviewed Laura during this particular interview here.
Yeah, in fact, that was right at the start, I guess, of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so they were thinking, well, business is going to slow down. Instead, their business grew. They now have 17 employees as of 2021. I haven't talked to them for a while, Eric, but I'll bet you they've grown way beyond that. They own a 6,000 square foot office space. They service 400 to 500 providers. Those are medical providers or doctors. And it replaces 3 to 4 times their previous income for both of these people.
Right.
Husband and wife. And so they've got a 45 to 50% profit margin because, folks, there's no product here. It's all labor. And so if you're doing all the work, of course, you're making all the money. But like they've done, they've expanded and hired people to actually do the billing. They just oversee the whole thing now and continue to add new clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, none of these people were in healthcare before. Most of all of our folks have come from wherever you're coming from. Real estate, construction, teachers, all different.
Housewives.
Yeah, just all different types of, yeah.
Now, Eric, get this. I don't know if you knew this or not, but last Friday we had a webinar presented by one of our, I should say, just seasoned, older licensees. This is a young lady who's actually in her early 30s. She got into this business several years ago. It's been, 8, 9 years ago. And she was actually presenting a webinar for our other licensees on some of the other services that she's come up with for offering to doctors. So the great thing about this is you're a part of a nationwide network of people who, when they come up with a new service or product, they'll offer that through us to our other
Right.
licensees, and you can either accept it or reject it, and you make money on those too. Somebody asked, Regis just asked, do the licensees get any revenue from those add-ons, or does it all go to ABS? No, you make money. You make more than we do on those, Regis. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Robbie's asking, is it target doctors, or are they independent ones with their own practices? Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of independent doctors out there, especially if you, again, go back and listen to Dr. Rackner's interview with me last week. We're finding doctors are going back into private practice coming out of the pandemic, because what they've learned is what they were supposed to be getting, they weren't getting becoming employees, so they're going back into private practice. So there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, you mentioned earlier about, again, all these different services, and folks, we can kind of go through these, but I'm just going to highlight some of these for you, because people always ask, can I make money at these other services? And for some of you, you may have heard us talk about what is quick collect, and folks, no doctor wants to send their clients or their patients to a collection agency. So is there a way to help them collect that? And there is. And the potential with this, if you had those 3 doctors, and each of those had just 24 accounts, 24 patients per month that owed the doctor some money, there's a potential of you making, over the annual part of that, $6,480 a year on that. Same thing with auto card. Again, folks, because of time, we get about 10 more minutes left to go on here. Yes, you can make some real money at these, and this is based upon what other people have told us of what they're doing. So there's a potential, $7,000 there. On top of that, the iDocs Now, which is a storage. So this kind of goes back to answer what was asked. Well, am I going to make money as the licensee, as the business owner? Am I going to make money? Yes, you're going to make money on all of these, to where there could be quite significant amount of money. But again, you get down to the last part of it, do the doctors already have billers? And again, the question always lurks around the corner, why would a doctor even want to outsource to me? Now, real quickly, Tanya just asked, is this webinar being recorded? The answer is yes. I know that some people are working or missing some important parts. So yes, we're recording this, so you can always get this a little bit later. So Patrick, what we've done here on our website, we already have some stories, some white papers that some of our licensees have written and kind of shared that. So I thought I'd just share a few of those here. And this is with I think this is with Jay Beatty. We did a case study with Jay Beatty, and Patrick, you've actually entered Jay several times.
Yes, he's got an amazing story. And Eric, I don't know how we is this on our website already out there?
It is. Yep, it's already on our website.
Okay, so they can go to absystems.com, and
yeah,
like it's
this is a screenshot of that there. It's under let's see, where is it? It's what's included, and you can download our 5 success stories. That's what it is.
Okay, good. Yeah, be sure and get those folks and read those. You'll see that they're in-depth studies about how people have built this business. These are actual licensees. And Eric, I think most of these are on our reference list that you're going to be talking about a little later that they can get. So they can actually call and talk to these people, can't they?
Yeah, this one's from Benny Biordi. Benny's been around forever. This one looks like it. This is Brian and Laura Dean. This is their case study there. Yep. We've already mentioned them already. And this one is Corey Craig. So these are all case studies that you can go back, review. And as Patrick said, all of these folks are on our reference list that you can actually talk about and talk to. So Patrick, we've got about 8 minutes left here. And, I know that I don't know if you need to go right off the bat here or anytime soon, but before I let you go, or you want to say anything else, I know that I think it's important for people to hear from you what this whole unconditional 30-day money back guarantee means. What is all of this?
Yes, thank you for reminding me, Eric. I do have another call coming up that I need to get ready for. But let me just say this. When people hear that we as a franchise or a business opportunity, whatever you want to call it, a licensing situation, that we have a money back guarantee, they think, well, how is that possible? Because there is no other company in America that I know of that's been doing this like we have for the past 10 years, offering people their money back if they don't like what they see. In other words, you have 30 days from the time you sign our paperwork and send in your funds, the $28,990 licensing fee. Remember, that's a one-time upfront fee that you pay, just like a franchise fee. But once you've paid that, you'll never pay us another dime. But during that first 30 days, if there's any reason that you don't like our business after seeing all of it, getting into our licensing website and going through our training modules and so forth, if there's something you don't like about it, you just say, I back out here, I want my money back. We've done that, Eric, as you know, a handful of times over the past years. But that's just because sometimes it's just not right. And if it's not right, it's not right. So you just ask for your money back. We wish you the best, and you can go on and find something else. Eric, thank you. I'm going to let you go, and wish the best to all of you. I hope I see some of you in our upcoming training classes. And if so, I'll be calling you personally, welcoming you, and talking to you about how you want to build this business and what we can do to help you get there.
You bet. Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate your time this afternoon.
You bet. Bye for now.
Absolutely. And folks, again, James says, have a great day, Patrick. So folks, again, we kind of took you through how much you can make. Again, we don't want to always showcase how much you can make, because again, this is obviously you'll only know it's going to work is if you get involved with us. And so someone just asked here, how can we find those doctors who are struggling with these denials so that we can offer them our services? When you go through our training, and again, I'm not trying to say, okay, you're going to learn all those trade secrets in training. We try to give you as much information on these webinars to let you know that. Folks, I'm going to tell you they're out there. How you do it is starting to let people know that you're in the business. That's number one. Nobody knows that you're in business. Nobody's going to even know that you have a solution. Patrick and I have on these other webinars gone back through some of the webinars and trying to share with you where you can go to get known within your community and where doctors can start calling you versus you trying to call doctors. We've done some of that information in the past. We may do another webinar coming up here of really what it means to go marketing and going with some of the tips and tricks and some of the things that you can learn during the live training. But until you get in that live training, the instructor there is actually going to give you some homework things that you need to start doing that's going to start identifying those doctors that are out there that are struggling. So we will kind of teach you how to go through that. Do you have marketing systems in place to acquire the customers? Yes, Robbie, we do. And I was just sharing that with you. We have several different marketing strategies. One today we didn't even talk about was the book of the New Thriving Medical Practice. That alone can have doctors trigger to go, man, I need to call somebody. So obviously we try not to throw that in there every single webinar. We try to be with all the information that we can get, trying to find good information out there. And then Pratik is asking, how long is the training? The training can probably last you about a week, maybe a little bit longer, depending upon your time, your schedule. Those are some of the things that it shouldn't take you very long. It's still within that 30-day trial, folks. And if you get that, just think about what you're being offered. Now, do you have to pay? Do you have to turn in all your money? Yes, you got to turn in your money. That money sits in a trust account. It's there. It's until you say, yes, I'm just going to stick with it, or no, I'm not going to stick with it. And then that way you can make that decision. Go through that, sit through that training, get through those exercises and see, gosh, is this the right business for me? That's part of your due diligence. So folks, that's part of what we can help you with. So what are your next steps? Okay. So here are the next steps. First of all, go down and look and ask for the research guide. Go back, not only get the research guide, it's because it's a PDF. Remember, Patrick is offering you his book on the how to reprogram yourself for success. Make sure you get a copy of that. Start reading that. So make sure you go get that. But get the downloaded research guide. You're going to want to go through that. Secondly, browse the YouTube channel. Now we've already done that. We've shared with you where to go. Go to youtube.com/YABS. That way you can go back and listen to the webinar I did last week with Dr. Rackner. Go back and see some of these other webinars that I've done. You're going to want to go check all of that out. Finally, you want to talk to some references. And we've already showed you some of those you can talk with: Corey Craig, Laura Dean, some of these other folks. Some of these are your instructors, could be your instructor. Some of these people are in the support. Folks, you've got a lot here that you can go do. I've already mentioned to you, sign up, get with the person that invited you, do a live demo. I can't say that enough. You want to know how this system works all together. And then now they'll be able to show you that if you had your doctor on there, that we're doing the demo for you. You're not having to do it. You're just facilitating. You're making sure, hey, doctor, I'm making sure you're here. I've got my Myrma team over here. They're gonna do the demo for you. They're going to answer all your questions. I'm going to sit back here. So, doctor, I'll follow back up with you when you're done. We're here to help you. And that's what we do. And that's where we kind of find out that we're closing about 50% of all doctors that get to the demo part of it are closing. That's why I want you to get the demo so you can see what they would be seeing. And then finally, get the purchase agreement, get it funded. That way you can get started with your training. It's about 5 pages long. That money back guarantee information is on that first page, so you can read it. And then lastly, get your funding and training in, send in your agreement. Let's get that training started so that you can kind of get going there. All right. So folks, you know what to do now. Give us a call here at 866-565-8413. Shoot us an email at info@absystems.com. If you don't know who your contact person is, we'll certainly be able to help you. A couple of things here in the question area. Athens says, thanks, Patrick and Eric. I appreciate the breakdown of the in the earning potential. Great earning opportunity if you follow the process and work in put it to work. That's correct. So where is your licensing majority of presence? In which state of the United States? They are all over, coast to coast. And we're also going to say, folks, it's could be somewhere in your own town. But let me tell you something about that. My first doctor that I ever did was not here in the northern Texas area. It was actually in Georgia. So that goes to show you that if you network properly, you got people that live in other areas, you could actually pick up a doctor that's not even in your area. So don't worry about if there's a lot of things like that. We've been, again, at this for a long time, knowing that there are new doctors coming in. There are doctors that are retiring. There are new clinics that are popping up. There are new groups that are coming together. This is always happening all the time out there. Any condition involved in the 100% money back guarantee. Any condition. You can say, I just didn't like it. I started off in the training. It's just not for me. I want my money back. And again, this person is anonymous, so it's no big deal. But at least get the agreement. Review the purchase agreement. It's spelled out there so you can kind of see what that is. Hopefully that kind of helps you there. Let's see. I came to know about ABS from Google and signed up for this webinar. So Patrick, it looks like you don't have anybody. So you will be assigned to somebody at this point. But if not, just call us at 866-565-8413. We will help you to make sure that we get that, and just ask for the demo. We'll help you get that taken care of. No problem. Folks, it is at the top of the hour. We went over just a little bit today. It was great to have Patrick on here. We're going to keep up with some of these webinar topics. We'll probably do some about marketing here in the near future. We always kind of do one every so often. Do people fail at this business? What makes people successful? Why do some people fail and others don't? We're going to talk about that. We kind of like to pull back the curtain here at American Business Systems, because we want you to make the wisest choices you can. Folks, it's been my pleasure to spend the last hour with you. Give us a call at 866-565-8413. You can send us an email, and hopefully we'll see you next Wednesday. Good night, everybody.